Hi everyone, I'm Gary and I'd like to welcome you to this program. We're streaming live video, from our studio in New York City, and we're broadcast all over the world. I want to thank the millions of people who listen in each month and share their thoughts. Today I have no guests because I want more time on the important issues. My own commentary, the pharmaceutical industrial complex, a deadly fairy tale. I'm going to connect all the dots on vaccines, bad drugs, medical education, the healthcare system, insurance, hospitals, why you would pay $50,000 for an operation when it could be done for $5,000. All this will be connected today in my original commentary. I'm going to give you the latest on what's happening in the swine flu, and a leading scientist comes forward and speaks out on this topic. And this is a scientist that you haven't heard from in the past, but he has outstanding credentials. Dr. Shiv Chopra is a Food and Drug Safety official in Canada. He is a microbiologist, PhD, with a specialty in vaccines. And wait till you hear what he has to say. Also, this morning, when I got off my overnight radio show, and thank you all for listening on KPFK in Los Angeles for 6 hours each Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, from 3 to 9 on the East Coast, midnight to 6 on the West Coast. Someone sent me a video on YouTube about these many people protesting in Trafalgar Square in London about the swine flu vaccine. And if you look at the posters, they have information from my articles that they're using. And then I got word from someone in England that they had downloaded the 4 articles on the lack of good science behind the safety and efficacy of the swine flu vaccine, the flu vaccine, and it's gone viral. Well, sure enough, we're approaching 10,000 websites, many major websites throughout the world, on the information, as well as the testimony under oath that I gave before the committee last week. It's up on GaryNull.com, ProgressiveRadioNet.com, YouTube, Google. It's everywhere, and it's gone viral. So now people who hitherto would not have had confidence in challenging the pro-vaccine lobby and their physician now have good science. In fact, a physician, a professor out in California, got on the radio and said that they're happy to have this information. They didn't know it existed. They had assumed the vaccines were safe and effective, especially the swine flu, because they were told it was. And now they know that they have been misled. They, in turn, are going to share this with other doctors and nurses. And the largest group of nurses and doctors in the world who are saying no to the swine flu vaccine are in Germany. Once again, they're picking up on the articles. It's giving them the confidence to know good science supports their saying no, and bad science is what's propagating the yes. So lots going on. But let's always start our program with the latest on health and healing. This is from Montreal, and it says the latest diabetes figures paint a grim global picture. International Diabetes Federation says epidemics out of control, and I'll quote this. It says, the International Diabetes Federation released new data today showing that a staggering 285 million people worldwide have diabetes. The latest figure indicates that people in low and middle income countries are bearing the brunt of the epidemic, and that the disease is affecting far more people of working age than previously believed. Now, one of the largest groups of diabetic patients, and this, by the way, does not include the at least 3 times more people, that would bring it up to almost 1 billion people who are pre-diabetic, who don't yet have an official diagnosis of diabetes, but are right there. It's in India and China. Why? Because India and China, during the last 10 years, have had the 2 fastest growing economies in the world. Brazil's right behind them, but they're the leaders. And when you take people who were lower middle class and who are educated, and now they're upper middle class, They live in more beautiful environments. They have financial security and savings, but they don't want the older diet. In India, it would be dal or lentils. There are dozens of variety of lentils. They want what they see on television. They want the American standard of living. They want designer clothes and high-end luxury cars. They want to live in special gated communities. In India, more so in the United States, because in the United States, and one of the many reasons I love our country and think there's no better place in the world to live, irrespective of some of the challenges to our democracy, and we quickly becoming a police state, is that you can live almost anywhere in America, in the country and urban areas, and feel safe. There are certainly some neighborhoods you can't, but the vast majority of America is a safe place to live. Not so in India. That does not mean that the Indian people are aggressive or dangerous. They're not. They're one of the most peaceful and loving people in the world. But in that environment, you have an enormous amount of organized crime that takes advantage not only of the poor Indians, but those who are wealthier. Kidnapping is on the rise. So the very wealthy want to live with other wealthy people, so they build these very tall buildings in the middle of slums. But inside that gated community, you have everything. You have lawns and fountains and gyms and everything. And then you go up in the building, you look out. You're looking out over a slum. So the ooh-ah factor is not there. It's a whole lot different than looking out over the beautiful red mountains in Sedona, Arizona, or looking out over the Monument Valley in Utah, one of the most beautiful places on earth, in my opinion. That's where they used to shoot all those John Ford, John Wayne films about the Old West. There you can live without fear of having someone break into your house and everything else. In India, you can't. And so what happens is these people are now in these gated communities, and they want everything American. And that includes hamburgers and pork chops and veal and big steaks, even if historically they didn't eat that at all. Because one of the largest population groups of vegetarians in the world is India, the Hindus and the Jains, and several of the other 927 religious sects there. So now they're eating it, and they're eating our cookies and donuts and bagels and potato chips, high trans fats, high saturated fats, and they're not exercising. As a result, they're overweight. So you see more overweight in India and in China than any other country in the world. It's very common now. So with overweight comes diabetes. The American diet, you're going to get diabetes. So that's about 500 million people at risk right there. It's an epidemic. The good news is that there's a lot of health-conscious people in India and China who are trying to educate them about the danger of this kind of, with your affluence, you automatically have to make bad choices. Not true at all. And I'm filming next week a whole panel of some of the world's greatest experts on diabetes. In fact, we're building a whole new set in our studio to accommodate them, and then we're going to finish this up, and I'm going to send this up on the PBS satellite in the spring, and have a book to go with it about the natural approach to diabetes. And I'll be sharing this information as soon as it's done with activists in these countries to see if we can't get it up on television in China and in India and in Brazil to help these people. Next up is green tea. Now, almost daily I give you a report on why green tea is so important. Now, there's two ways of taking green tea. Don't think you're getting green tea when you buy these health drinks. You're not. Yes, it's on the label.